Happy summer solstice. If you're just joining, you are in for a treat. Hi. We are going to be doing a little workshop. So if you don't already have your chart up, or if there's a way for you to pull up your astrological chart that you know how to, have it in front of you, maybe go find it, or you could listen back to this later. Hopefully it'll be posted if all goes well. And then you can look at it then and look at your astrology. So we're going to be talking all about astrology today and the astrology for this beautiful summer solstice, the summer and beyond. So if you're here, let me know in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling today. If the sun is out where you are, if you're going to be out in the sun today enjoying the summer solstice. And I'm just going to call in all the good energy. Call in highest good. For everyone listening to this, calling in all the directions, calling in the earth energy, calling in this beautiful light energy. Hello, hello. All right. So another thing I want to announce before I jump into the astrology is the planetary planner that I have is on super sale right now. If you don't already have it, it's a great time to get it halfway through the year. Soaking in this solstice goodness. Yes, yes, yes. So if you don't already have your paper planner, I ship in the US. If you're not in the US, you can get it as a digital version. But some people just like the digital version, and you can also get that on my website. So the planetary planner is for this year. And it has each new and full moon and journaling prompts, and it's really great. It also has I filled out mine. The summer solstice pages. I already filled those out this morning. I woke up early and went and sat in the sun and filled out my summer solstice pages. So I don't really feel like sharing because my handwriting is not that great. So that's that. And if you're interested in hearing more about the astrology, we're just going to go over the summer solstice chart. When I saw the summer solstice chart, I'm like, oh, we got to talk about this. So really intense chart. And when we look at a chart for a moment in time, so when we look at a chart for the moment that the sun moves into Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, or Aries, they're very important because they mark a whole new season, and they mark this chart, they make this chart of the moment that for me represents what is likely to be shown to us, to be revealed to us, to be experienced throughout that season, okay? This is very similar to if you've ever had a solar return reading from me or another astrologer. It marks the exact time that the sun comes back to the same degree and minute to your birth sun sign. So the degree. And so as we're looking at the summer solstice chart, the exact time of the summer solstice was I shouldn't say exact, around 2:30. I'm not like looking too in-depthly. The way I do my charts is I kind of pick a time, and then if it's close enough, this was 0 degrees, 0 minutes. So that was good enough for me. 2:30 a.m. this morning. So I'm just going to go over some things that might make sense to you and might not around the summer solstice chart, but I'm going to also tell you what I think that means or what that looks like to me. And what you can do is look to wherever 0 degrees of Cancer is in your birth chart, because that's the place that the sun is activating right now, and that's the place that sets all the other planets in alignment with that. And so it highlights what the main focus for the next few months for you is best focused on, if that makes sense. So I'll give an example. If this is happening 0 degrees, and this is really if you use not whole sign houses, like if you use, I guess I could work for that, but I'm like talking minute and degrees, and wherever that 0 degree, 0 minute of Cancer is for you is setting that energy. So the example is like Cancer in the 11th house, 0 degrees, 0 minutes in the 11th house. Well, then it's a good time for you to focus on future plans, vision, community building ideas, ways that you want to support your community. It's a nurturing sign. Hi, Martha. Hi, Shauna. If you're here, type hello into the chat so I know you're here so I can say hi back. It's a very nurturing sign. It's a very intuitive sign. And so wherever this 0 degree, 0 minute point of Cancer is for you is going to highlight that even more. So wanting to infuse in your intuition, your boundaries, your emotional capacity. Hi everyone. Love that emoji. And so look to your chart and see where 0 degrees of Cancer is. If you know, you can type it in the chat because I love to know where this is for you. And so this is the cardinal point for you of summer solstice always. For as long as you're alive and you have an astrological birth chart, this is your summer solstice place. Like, isn't that cool to know, right? And then you also have a fall equinox place. You also have a winter solstice place. You also have a spring equinox place. These 4 directions in your chart are really important to know and understand because they set the whole season. So Shauna says 5th house, that's really fun. So bringing that intuition and creativity to your creations, to your children, nurturing your children, and then also your art, your jewelry, all of those things come into more of a focus. It's not like those things aren't there all the time. They just come into new focus and new energy comes in. Like you get new ideas. Like I definitely am having this with new ideas of what to do with my work or new ideas of how to move things forward. It's infusing the energy. It's like giving you this fresh new perspective or new energy. And as we're in this brand new season of Cancer season, we're also in this brand new season of summer. So it's double whammy. And so we want to really cultivate and understand the energy so that we can work with it more. And that's why using your planetary planner can be so helpful in filling out those Cancer pages. Now, as we're talking about this, I'm going to talk a little bit about the chart for the collective, and I'll bring in some pieces for you to look at in your own chart of where this is happening. The main one being, and what really prompted me to want to do this live and to do a workshop around this astrology, is that at the very top of the chart, when I'm putting this at Eugene, Oregon, where I live, at the top of the chart is Pluto in the 10th house in Capricorn, which is naturally placed in the 10th house. Pluto at the top of the chart is intense. And if you don't already know, we are in what is called a Plutonic return of the United States. There's a lot getting stirred up, if you haven't noticed. In the United States, a lot of things that are very broken, a lot of things that are just kind of hodgepodge together, and everybody's just trying to keep going, this like limp leg, just keep going along instead of just really stopping and healing and taking care of the problem. And because of that, we're going to be seeing a lot more this summer in the collective around this brokenness, around this broken system, and the way that the system was built and the way that the system was, a continuation of a colonial empire, and also like trying to break away from that, but kind of like trying to run away from that, but actually like running into that in some way. And so it's a really interesting, and it's not just the United States, because obviously it's like it was so much before that, but there is so much around what's happening in the United States and the political system and the government that affects all of the world, right? So hi, if you're just joining, we're talking about astrology. I promise I won't spend too much time talking about politics or government, but when Pluto is in the last degrees of Capricorn, we should be talking about what's happening politically. Now, this is true no matter what time you lived, right? So no matter, the astrology chart is the astrology chart. There are always going to be the haves and the have-nots. There are always going to be the politicians, no matter what kind of system you have. And I would love to see a different chart. Hi, if you're just joining. I would love to see a different chart set, but for as long as we have the chart that we have that's in the sky, that's what we're working with. That's what we're dealing with. And to understand that and to work with those energies is the most effective. So for you, look in your chart. Where are the last degrees of Capricorn? Where are the last degrees of Capricorn? Because that's going to show you where there is a deep beckoning for deconstruction, for unpacking, for clearing out the debris, for deep ancestral cleaning, for deep governmental oppression healing, for deep persecution pictures around humanity and around your evolution and around your growth, possibly even some pictures or some things around things that maybe you have done in your lifetime or past lifetimes around systems and oppression. Okay, so this is big stuff. Happy summer solstice. This is big stuff. But the reason why I wanted to do this workshop is because that's at the top of the chart for summer. That's a big theme for summer. And so I will be very surprised if we don't see more push-pull, agitation, stirring the pot energy this summer. I would be very surprised if we don't see that. So very much our political system plays off of trauma bonding. And so that's what we're going to see a lot of. So how can you tend to your nervous system? Mercury in Gemini right now. How can you tend to your own nervous system, to your own well-being, and to looking at where this deconstruction is happening for you? For some of us, this is going to also be at the top of your chart. So it's going to be at it's going to be in the front. Like you might be working in the government, like, you know what I mean? So it's not to say that you're not supposed to work with this energy and to understand it more and what it's playing out for you. Just know your place in it. Know if it's on mission for you, or if it's not on mission for you, it could be the thing that drags you down. And that's not what we want. So knowing where the deconditioning process is asking for you to look at, those last degrees of Capricorn, Pluto is going to be in the last degrees of Capricorn until 2023, I believe, through 2023, I think. So we got to pace ourselves here. You got to do little bits at a time, but this summer is asking for some deep healing. Now, I personally think that kind of what we've been through in the last few years was naturally in the chart and was going to happen in some form or way. Isolation, needing to do a lot of inner work, healing work. And now that we've done that, now it's like, how are we going to fit that back into the whole? No. How are we going to take our part in it, our pieces of it, and bring those puzzle pieces to the collective? There we go. So if you're here still, type it in the chat. Tell me where the end degrees of Capricorn is for you. And if you're feeling that deconstruction happening, what's going on for you? What are you noticing? And if nothing, I'm so happy for you. But that is not the experience for most people. So when we look at this chart of summer solstice, we notice Pluto at the top of the chart, okay? Really asking us to do some big work this summer. We have the sun in Cancer, newly into the third house. The third house is our neighbors, our community, our small, close-knit community, our siblings, our inner circle, and it's also how we communicate, how we connect with each other. And there's a lot of things shifting and changing, maybe subtly or not so subtly, about the ways that we connect to each other and how we disconnect from each other. This also is a bigger picture of Saturn in Aquarius. When Saturn first moved into Aquarius was when all the big shutdowns were happening. A lot of people were moving to the online sphere and away from literally like being together, being with each other. And so when we have Mercury kind of pinging that energy of Saturn in Aquarius, it can activate or heighten a certain level of lack of connection, wanting connection, not knowing how to get connection, censorship, polarity, just an overstimulation of the nervous system without any true connection. So we're really seeing this in a big way. The way that we have been doing work, the way that we have been connecting is subtly or not so subtly shifting. And how we deal with that is really important for the future generations, for future everything, right? So I think that we, as Saturn is in Aquarius for another year, it's like more is coming in some way, shape, or form of the push to be online more. And I think that we don't get to the healing of that until Saturn moves into Pisces, where people start to recognize, oh, we do need each other. Oh, the connection that I have when I'm actually with someone is so much more effective than if I'm not, right? If I'm disconnecting or connecting through a screen or using VR or on video games, right? So this is part of the summer and where we're at is how we're connecting with people, how we're disconnecting with people, and how to repair or heal and deal with the grief of disconnection. And so this is a really important time to look at your connections, look at your community, because this is third house, connections, community. Ceres is there, which is the goddess of abundance and loss. And she really highlights where this hurts, where you've lost friendships or where you've literally lost a loved one, and the healing that needs to happen there. Black Moon Lilith is also there, saying like sometimes you're going to have to be a rebel in the way that you connect with people, and sometimes you're going to have to go against what's popular or what's acceptable. So there's a lot in this like kind of mercurial energy, and it's really important to understand that can be taxing to the nervous system. So hi, if you're just joining, we're talking about the astrology for summer. We're talking about the summer solstice chart and how that kind of gives the energy for summer. I am going to be pulling cards. So if you are here, you can type your first name in the chat if you'd like me to pull you a card. I'm going to get through a little bit more with this astrology, and then we'll move to that. So the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And right now we have a lot of planets in Aries. And Aries is, okay, thanks for typing your names. Yay! Okay, I'm excited to pull cards in a minute. So when we have a lot of Aries energy and Cancer energy activated in the chart, and then Capricorn too, because it's at the midheaven at the top of the chart for summer solstice, which is interesting because that makes sense. It's the polarity, but it's not always set up that way in the chart, but today it is. When we have a lot of Aries is the spiritual warrior. It's like our aura that's like just like being somewhere and being powerful because you're there and you're so like intact in your energy. This is like bitches shine brighter, which by the way, I have a very special, hi if you're just joining, I have a very special summer offer. So I have a couple of them actually. The summer solstice offer is, I think it's 20% off of a 4-hour deep dive VIP astrological coaching, energetic alignment work, deep dive, or it's specifically, it can be for anyone, but it's specifically set for women in business to really align your energy, hone your energy, and really shine in your life and in your business. And that's 20% off. I'll post my story, both of these things. And then the other one is any of my 2 courses. They're self-paced courses. The coolest thing is you can literally just listen on your phone when you're out doing gardening work or when you're whatever outside and laying down and resting. Any of my 2 courses. This is like big because it's basically less than one of my courses, depending on which 2 you choose. Any of my 2 courses for $888, and I have a payment plan available. So if either of those speak to you, you can message me or look to my story after this, and literally can be any of my 2 courses. So I will list out my courses for you because there's quite a few. And I'm super excited about this because I really feel like summer is such a great time to really squeeze all the juice out of life, out of the universe, because it is like the spring is the time of like, sprouting, and then the summer is like the fruit. And we want to make sure our vision for our year comes to fruition. So if you did a vision board back at the beginning of the year or at the new moon in Aquarius, it's a great time to get that out. If you did my vision board workshop, get that out, look at it, see how far you've come. What are the things that you've manifested? What are the things that you had intention of doing that maybe you stopped doing? Like, I definitely could make more green smoothies in my life. And getting back to it, recommitting to your year, recommitting to this last 6 months of the year to get all the fruit, squeeze all the juice out of the year. And the best way I think of doing this is looking at the astrology and looking at your own chart and understanding where you're getting pinged to be called into action, where you're getting pinged to, hi, if you're just joining, where you're getting pinged to be and to receive and to step into more. So if you're just joining and you'd like me to pull you a card at the end, I'm getting there. You can type your first name into the chats. That was a mouthful. Where's my water? Okay. One thing that I was starting to say was we have a lot of energy in Aries. Aries is like the spiritual warrior. We have Mars, which is in its natural placement in Mars in Aries. Chiron, which is the wounded healer. Jupiter, which is freshly into Aries and is really activating our highest self around our warriorship and where we're being called into living our mission-driven life, where we're being called to live on purpose. If you haven't already gotten your planetary planner, they're on super sale, so you can go to my website and get either the digital or the paper version. Okay. And then today, the moon is in Aries. And so when we're looking at the summer solstice chart and we're looking at this chart kind of cast for the energy capture of the summer, the moon in Aries is like, yeah, we're going to be called into our warriorship. It's really important to understand that this is not going to be all light and love. What is that? The summer of love? I mean, hopefully it's the summer of love and like fighting for love, but the sun is squaring the moon, and this can be very much conflict with what we need versus what we want. And we know that there's a lot of things happening right now in our world that people are just trying to not look at and keep going. And it's important that we understand that can only last for so long before there's a tipping point, there's a boiling point, there's a point where the people just all throw the tea in the water, you know? So that's there, and yeah, and so Pluto also trines Mercury. So it's important that we talk about these things. It's important that we dialogue about these things. There is this illusion that whatever you're struggling with alone. And that's the illusion. It's like these struggles are collective, and it's very important that we understand why we are where we are, why we're feeling certain things. We might feel like things are really heavy and not understand that we're taking on the energy of the collective. So it's important to understand and look at that. And if you're interested in doing specifically, I really feel this season is such for me, like the Bitches Shine Brighter season. Any 2 courses of mine for $888, and I have a payment plan. So I highly recommend you check out my offerings or reach out to me. I have a really great way of feeling into kind of the energy of what would be most helpful to you at the time. And I have no problem like sharing that with you if you ask me and if you want my opinion, because I have so many great courses that can help you move forward wherever you're at. And